It's as simple as that, honey. It's a fall season and it's time to get into the fall spirit. Here's some casual fall outfits and I hope you get a little bit of inspiration. Hey honey, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Maya moment. If you guys are a honey already, thank you so much for coming back to another video. If you guys aren't a part of the honey bunch yet, then don't forget to subscribe down below. That would mean the world, and I love getting to build this family, this community, this bunch. Without further ado, we're gonna get into today's video. A fall outfits lookbook, inspiration for your fall. This is honestly kind of a college outfits of the week, fall inspired. Today is the first day of October. I'm really excited. I don't know, I just love this season. It's gonna start feeling cozy. But just so you guys know, right now where I live, it's not actually super cold right now where I could wear thick sweatshirts or sweaters, jackets that I would like to show you guys. So it is gonna be more of like a summery fall lookbook for at least where I am. Even just being in this right now, I'm low-key sweating right now, but it's totally okay. I'm gonna try to show you guys as many outfits as I can right now, just with like a minimal closet, and I guess just show you some inspiration for what you can wear during the beginning of the fall season. Hopefully this will inspire you guys with the closet that you guys already have, or if you guys just need a few extra pieces to put together. Don't you worry. I hope you guys really like this video. I hope you guys get excited for fall. Also, I am shooting to reach 2,000 subscribers, so if you want to be a part of the under 2,000, then definitely subscribe down below. Let's start the party, and I'm just going to show you tons of outfits. Let's get going. Hey guys, that is actually going to be the end of today's video. I really hope that you guys got inspired by today's video. It was actually really fun for me to film. I tried to put together a bunch of different outfits, big variety of things that you could wear, but also you're going to have your own accessories, statement pieces, clothes and shoes, all that stuff. But don't forget, it's you who makes the outfit, so just feel confident. It's 10:20 right now. I'm really wishing that it wasn't nighttime so I could actually go out in this outfit. It's also too hot to wear this outfit right now, but I'm glad that we have some ideas for myself when it does get cooler. So anyways guys, I hope that you guys are stoked for fall, and I'm gonna be having a lot more fall videos come your way. Yeah, like I said, if you guys haven't joined yet, if you guys have been watching the videos and haven't subscribed, make today that day. Comment down below what your favorite outfit was. Some of her outfits were featured on here. She just started a YouTube channel. If you guys have enjoyed her on this channel, which you probably have, you should go check out her channel. It's on the rise. She's gonna be having her own fall videos coming ahead. Anyways, this is basically it. I gave you all that I could. So many outfit ideas, so it's time for you guys to help me out. Give your girl a like and subscribe down below, and turn on your post notifications so you know every time I post. I post every Monday and Thursday. So that's all the information I think you need to know for right now. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Why can I not understand what I'm trying to tell you right now? Sometimes the words don't flow, and it's not right now. What am I trying to say here? This girl really want to go somewhere right now because now I really am ready, and I'm ready for a full day. But it's definitely not the time for me to go be doing plans. I mean, I would. Nighttime vibes are the good vibe. Ta-ta for now. Just kidding.